Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the public work session of the Rockville Center Board of Education. We are here in the Commons Room and on TV. I'd like to call our meeting to order. We usually don't do the pledge at a public works meeting. I don't know why. Because we're usually in the boardroom. Do you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance? I have no problem. Everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chang, your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the summer gets underway, we do a lot of planning for what's going to be coming up for the next upcoming school year, and I can tell you that there's been a lot of excitement about getting back to a sense of normalcy, and that's what we're going to continue to kind of prime ourselves and get ready for the 21-22 school year. As such, on the agenda later on, you will find that I am making a recommendation to fill the role of the Executive Director of Special Education and Pupil Personnel Services. A critically important role, vitally important to the success of our students, and for us to be cohesive as a district and be on the same page. We had gone through a very grueling interview process where we've had multiple committees, parents involved, teachers, administrators were all involved, and at the end we came on a consensus, unanimous consensus, in terms of who we want our next face of the special ed world as well as the PPS world in our district at Rockville Center. I am pleased to be recommending to the Board of Education Jeannie Love as our next Executive Director of Special Education and PPS Services. That's a really long title, which from here on out I'll call her the Executive Director. But she comes to us with glowing reviews, great recommendations, and the thing that stands out the most and that we're going to benefit from is her idea of team and what that means in terms of building a goal towards better experiences for our students and keeping the students' well-being, their success in mind, and that's something that we desire here at Rockville Center. So I am wholeheartedly and fully invested in this recommendation, and we know, at least I know, that we have a lot of good things to come moving forward from here on out. So that is on the agenda for today. She's also joining us in the background there, just for the people at home.
Mr. Chang, just quickly, could you go through so the public knows what, kind of the steps you go through to vet or pick somebody?
Certainly, in terms of our interview process, we want to make sure that we have robust representation from everybody across the board, whether it's parents, it's teachers, with administrators, central, as well as local building administrators. We had 2 rounds, actually had 2 simultaneous rounds going at one time. Then there's a round just with the cabinet, the people who've worked closely with that individual, and then a final kind of meet with me, and then I'm then able to present to the board a recommendation. So it is a process in terms of what we're looking at. Even before that, though, we do screenings in terms of screening interviews from the resumes that we have, cull through them. I don't remember the number that we've had, but it was, yeah, it was up there. It was well past about 30. And once we go through that, then we hand over the resumes. I actually stay completely out of the first 2 rounds, just to be able to give people an opportunity to get a feel for who they are, and then come in and come right after that.
Very good. Thank you.
Moving right along, one of the things that we want to be sure that we're in line with is obviously whatever the state deems is necessary in terms of continuing to move forward. There has been 0 news on the front from the state level or from the Department of Health in terms of any updates to what we need to be ready to open up for next school year. So again, we're fully prepared to be open. My hope is that we are going to have everybody back. We know that. We're going to have everybody back unless something drastically changes. But in terms of masks, other parameters that are out there, that could change within the next couple of weeks. So once that information does come out, I will be sharing that with the public and making sure that we put out any information that we need to. We're ready for the worst case scenario, and we're very optimistic for the best case scenario and bringing our students back. With that, one of the things that my cabinet and I are just recently discussing is what should we be focused on for the upcoming school year. The things that are going to be most important to us is kind of coming out of the pandemic, getting back into the realm of normal, but what does that look like to us? What are we actually working with in terms of our students, what they've gone through, what levels do we need to be able to support them so that we can get back into that flow, and then look to make additional modifications and adaptations that's going to benefit our students. So some of the things that we are going to be kind of focused on, and in terms of our minds and our mission for this year, is to really look at academic supports all across the grade levels, starting from the elementary to the middle school and certainly to the high school, and then also looking at enrichment opportunities for our students, because people are going to be at all different levels and all different spaces. But we do know we're going to learn a lot over the next few months, particularly about where we are as we get back into the day-to-day routine and the types of support that our students are going to need. So we're going to focus very keenly on that. And then also coupled with that comes the social emotional learning aspect of it. What are the types of supports that, kids who are coming in on a day-to-day basis who didn't have an interrupted schedule, what they would have faced is much different than what they faced in terms of the hybrid situation, coming in full-time, going in and out of quarantine. Those are kind of situations that we're going to need to kind of look at very carefully. And how do we make sure that we are upfront in terms of that level of support and we're prepared to be able to give that throughout the school year. So those kind of the three focus areas for this year as we move forward. I hope to be able to kind of elaborate on this a bit more. Again, this is kind of like an uncharted territory that we're going into, to come out and look at what our actual plans are and tie that back to kind of what our core values are. And I can tell you, talking with my administration, my principals team, and having them kind of come up with their goals for what we're looking to do, we want to get to this idea of a well-balanced, well-rounded student, and how do we provide that for all our grade levels from K all the way through 12. We'll hope to be able to expand on that and hopefully have a better vision of what we're looking to do over the next 3 to 4 years moving forward. So that's kind of the work that we're doing. We'll continue to work very diligently on that. I know that Sonia and Janine have been incredibly focused and hyper kind of into the action of things, which is I'm very grateful for. And that will also help guide and dictate what we're going to need to do in terms of going forward for the next budgeting process in the year, which it's going to be right around the corner for what we're going to need to move forward. So that is my report for this evening, Mr. President.
All right, we'll go to acceptance of gifts. Mr. Chang?
We have a gift from the Ryan Patrick Shea Foundation. I'm going to pass this along to Robert Bartels.
Okay. Yeah, we have a gift for support teaching materials from sources of strength for our elementary school programs. I don't have any more. I don't know if John has any specific information on it, but it's to continue to provide support at the elementary school.
Yeah. If I may, I believe this is also, I only know this because we've had a conversation. It's to provide the materials for the support, and the scheduling of that will come down later on forward through the curriculum department as well, working with the principals. But right now, those materials need to be brought so that they can be put into place. And we thank the Ryan Patrick O'Shea Foundation for being so generous in terms of giving us the supplies that we need to move forward.
Just quickly, source of strength is something we've used in high school last year, and with great success. Students and staff alike, praised the program, enjoyed participating in the program, and to go into the elementary schools makes so much sense because everything about our academics in our school, we build the foundation for our kids. From math to reading, everything goes from the low part up. So this makes a lot of sense, and the program has some. It just has a great grasp on things, a great grasp on how to help kids and staff understand the hurdles that they may be facing as they go forward. And as as a lot of people may say, it can't be an elementary school. It is an elementary school. Our elementary schools children do struggle with probably about the same depression, isolation, anxiety about things. So this program is designed and data-driven and just an amazing program, in my viewpoint. And
just to add, all the elementary principals looked at the program. It's going to be focused in grades 3, 4, and 5. It will enhance our social emotional learning and, again, give our teachers some training on just how to deal with some emotions that happen at the elementary level at a grade appropriate level. So thank you.
It's the foundation's pleasure. Move on. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as listed on the meeting?
Sorry, I think you have to accept the gift.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to accept the gift?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the financial reports as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to accept the receipts of financial reports as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
When I hear everybody say aye, I'm not going to ask if there are any nays, okay? Can I have a motion to accept board actions A through G as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
I think you want to do H?
H.
We're going to hold H off till after. That's what we talked about.
No, H is the settlement agreement.
Yes.
I is personnel.
Oh.
A through
So
H.
there go the new, as opposed to computer. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll go through
A through H.
A through H.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I had a question on letter D, the appointment of board committees. I was just wondering the reasoning as to why we are disbanding the IEP committee and merging, as far as the board operational committees, changing it from 4 to 3 and merging special ed, PPS, mental health, and then curriculum into one, as opposed to what we had last year. It was new for us, it was new for the public last year in terms of the operating committees, and I'm just curious as to why we're moving from 4 to 3 this year.
Through the president, the thinking behind it was there's so much overlap in terms of special education and the programming that we try to do with curriculum instruction, and we're thinking of it as education as a whole, and to be able to do that. Secondly, we do have an additional new person that's joining on to our group and has never been through this process either. I thought having at least a year's veteran working together, and Sonia will now be included also in those education committee meetings. It may be a way to at least leverage the experience that we have, welcome someone else that's in, and then look to that. Now, if the board, I know if it does seem like it may be a little bit too much, we could certainly revisit that and split that. And if it's okay with the president, we can have another discussion after we start, once the person starts, get our feet wet in terms of what the process is, how the minutes are given, who anchors, who's the chairperson, in terms of giving the reports as they switch off every meeting. Just getting all that stuff down, I think may help ease some of the transition, as well as kind of help look at the whole educational program, because there is some overlap where there may be questions that can be answered all together as one. But I would like for us to at least try and kind of leverage the experience that we have currently, and then move forward if deemed so proper that we split the committees back into special education and just the curriculum instruction. I'm not opposed to that.
I just think it was really helpful to have different eyes and ears from board members on those two particular areas, and going into this year that we know those are going to be two heavily focused areas going in. We've already mentioned them tonight more than once. So I just think, personally, I would like to see them stay the same the way they were last year. That's just my opinion, but we can see moving forward. That's just me. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I agree, and I also was, disappointed that many of us were left off of a lot of committees, and to me that would be another opportunity for those of us who are being underutilized to participate more, because I was dissatisfied with the design of these committees this year. So I would like to see that committee come back and give more opportunities to board members that were underutilized.
I'm also not opposed to splitting it back into two committees. I do feel like this is a lot to take on in one group, so I would agree. I would not be opposed to seeing that go back to two.
We had mentioned it when we saw that the committees were conflated.
Trustee Barry and myself were on curriculum last year, and I was also on special ed. So I did say it was an awful lot of information, but your vision that you then gave was that you thought it could work better this way, but you were open to separating it back if we need to.
I am open.
Is it something you want to, with something you would consider waiting and seeing, or do you want it, are you thinking that it should start out split?
I mean, given the fact that we're just bringing in a new person, a new leader, I personally want to see them split, but it's up to the board. However, if we want to give it time, or if we want to, it's being approved, it's on for approval tonight. That's why I'm bringing it up tonight.
I agree. I would like to see it out of the gate. We have a new executive director coming on. And again, I think my request would be that the president gives it a fair look of making sure the underutilized board members are at least part of those operating committees, because as it stands, it's definitely not a balanced and equitable amount of responsibilities for our board members. So I would ask that we add it and give a second look to the people that have been left off of a lot of other committees.
Erica?
I would trust Mr. Chang's opinion to start off as maybe a unified group and give it, a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and then step on from there. Because I do think that there is a lot of merit to be said about onboarding a new member of the committee and giving her time to kind of feel out the district and her role and whatnot. So I'm really okay however you want to start it, but I think ultimately it probably would be within the best interest to split the two into their own committees.
I agree that the way you described it, the overlap, that it sounded like an idea that might work. And I did express to you concerns that it may be overwhelming. So I'm happy to defer, and we can try it this way, and if it doesn't work, we can split it back.
So, Mr. President, and to the board, what we could do is, because you have committees that you need to approve, because we got work to do, right? So I would say, we're anticipating Jeannie to be joining us late August. I'd like to get her through one meeting, and then to be able to also give you some time, Mr. President, to be able to decide who's going to be split on those committees. What we could do is move towards having an ultimate goal of having two committees. I think the onboarding part we may be able to do within that one meeting, and then in September you could start out whole and to schedule those. That could be, if that's okay with everyone, that could be the kind of final goal. We could put the additional committees on at the next meeting that we have. Put that committee on, or if there's any changes, you can make that adaptation at the next board meeting on the agenda. But we would like to start meeting in August, at least to start off, so that we could kind of get started, because we are going to need to have to report out to the community as the school year starts.
So for now, we'll be making a motion to keep it the way it is.
Keep it the way it is. You'd have to be able to sign the break off of it. What we could do is, just for that first meeting, have everyone together, the two people together, and then we could figure out what we're doing in terms of the additional appointments that the president will make.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Same.
Right, so that's what we'll do. We'll discuss at our September meeting how we want to go with it. All right.
We're just,
No,
I think
we're going to
approving
split
the
in
committees
September.
now.
We're going to approve the committees now, and what
Okay.
we'll do is we'll split the committees for September. And at that point, that gives you an opportunity to be able to select the two additional people.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the PAR as listed in the addendum, as it listed in the agenda.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Questions?
I have an exception with number 11 and number 12 on addendum 2.
Madam Vice President? Do you know the section?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going, am I going now?
No, I just wanted to make sure you
Yep.
knew the section, so, yeah, sorry.
Any other
And-
questions?
May I ask one thing? In the second section of this, the addendum number 2, correct?
Right.
The second
Addendum
section.
Number 2, yeah,
Number 11?
and 12.
Yes, great, thank you.
So
So we need a roll call.
we'll do a roll call?
Yes, so we'll do a roll call for the vote. Trustee Messier?
I approve all except for numbers 11 and 12 on addendum 2.
Trustee Hackett?
Approved, no exceptions.
Trustee Barry?
Approved, no exceptions.
Trustee Farzani? Vice President Farzani, I apologize.
That's okay. Approved with the exception of 11 and 12.
And President O'Shea?
Approved with the exception of 11 and 12.
Okay, so the PAR is approved with the exception of 11 and 12 for the second addendum.
And we don't need to go back. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We will see you all. We have the board tour on
August
the
25th.
25th of August. People are welcome to be at their buildings if that's what they like. The PTA will join us. They'll probably send out notifications. So that will be the day we also make the determination of splitting classes or any issue like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.